Supreme Admiral Karath of the Galactic Coalition had never seen anything like it. 50,000 warships from every major species in the galaxy hung in formation around Earth's Zephyrian battlecruisers, Manthari dreadnoughts, crystalline motherships, and vessels from 200 other civilizations. It was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. And the humans were smiling. Admiral, his communications officer, reported, her tentacles trembling with confusion. "We're receiving a response to our ultimatum." "Put it through," Karath growled, his forearms adjusting the ceremonial armor he wore for such momentous occasions. This would be humanity's surrender, their acknowledgement that they had finally pushed too far, expanded too quickly, grown too bold for the galaxy's comfort. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a middle-aged human male in a simple blue uniform. Admiral Marcus Webb of the United Earth Space Command looked remarkably relaxed for someone facing the combined might of the galaxy. Behind him, his bridge crew worked with casual efficiency, and most unsettling of all, several of them were actually grinning. "Supreme Admiral Karath," Webb said with a slight nod. "Quite an impressive fleet you've assembled. Must have taken months to coordinate." "Surrender now, human," Karath declared, his voice echoing across the communication channels that connected all 50,000 ships. "You are outnumbered, outgunned, and surrounded. Your species' aggressive expansion ends today." Admiral Webb's smile widened. "Oh, we're not surrounded, Admiral. We're exactly where we want to be." Before Karath could respond, his tactical officer's panicked voice cut through the bridge. "Sir, I'm detecting massive energy signatures from the outer system. Something's coming out of hyperspace." The first human reinforcements materialized in a flash of blue light. Not ship structures. Massive orbital defense platforms, each one the size of a small moon, equipped with weapons that made Karath's dreadnoughts look like children's toys. They appeared in perfect formation around the Coalition fleet, their targeting systems already locked on. "Impossible," Karath whispered. "Our intelligence said Earth had no such defenses." "Your intelligence was correct," Admiral Webb replied, his tone conversational. "We didn't have them yesterday. We built them this morning." The second wave arrived before Karath could process the first. Human warships, but not the primitive vessels they'd catalogued. These were sleek, advanced craft that seemed to bend space around them. Ships that shouldn't exist, powered by technology that violated half the known laws of physics. "You see," Admiral Webb continued, seemingly oblivious to the chaos erupting across Coalition communication channels, "you made a critical error in your assessment of humanity. You assumed we were like you, that we thought in terms of what exists now, what we currently possess." A third wave materialized. These weren't ships at all, but beings of pure energy wearing humanoid forms. They took positions alongside the human fleet with the casual ease of old friends. "But humans, Admiral, we think in terms of potential. What we could build, what we could become, what we could convince others to help us achieve." Karath watched in growing horror as more allies appeared. Species he'd never seen before, technologies that defied comprehension. And in the center of it all, Earth itself began to glow with an inner light that spoke of planetary-scale weapons systems coming online. "The Ascendants," his science officer screamed. "Those energy beings, they're the Ascendants. The myths say they left physical existence millions of years ago." "Myths have a way of becoming reality around humans," Webb observed. "The Ascendants were fascinated by our unique approach to problem-solving. Turns out, beings of pure thought appreciate species that refuse to think inside conventional boxes." The Coalition fleet was now completely surrounded by forces they couldn't identify, let alone fight. Karath's ships, mighty as they were, suddenly felt fragile and primitive in comparison. "How?" Karath managed to ask. "The same way we do everything, Admiral. We asked nicely. We offered something valuable in return, and we refuse to accept impossible as an answer." Webb gestured to someone off-screen, and new readings flooded Karath's sensors. "The Void Dwellers are providing dimensional anchor technology," Webb explained, as reality-warping ships phased into existence. The Crystalline Collective shared their consciousness matrix networks. "The Time Shepherds, well, let's just say they owed us a favor from something we're going to do next Tuesday." Karath felt his command chair's life support systems automatically compensate for his rising stress levels. This is madness. The resources required, the coordination needed, would be impossible for any single species, Webb agreed. "But you see, Admiral, that's where you made your second mistake. You thought of this as humans versus the galaxy. We thought of it as the galaxy versus the fear of change." The communications array lit up with incoming messages. Karath's own fleet was receiving defection notices, entire squadrons breaking formation to join the human coalition. Species that had been part of the Galactic Coalition for millennia were suddenly switching sides. "They're not betraying you, Admiral," Webb said, apparently reading the despair on Karath's face. "They're choosing hope over stagnation. We offered them something your coalition never could have chanced to become more than they were yesterday." "What do you want?" Karath asked, his voice hollow. "The same thing we've always wanted," Webb replied. "To explore, to grow, to meet new friends, and see what wonders we can accomplish together. Your coalition has spent 10,000 years maintaining the status quo. We're offering everyone a chance to see what's possible when you stop limiting yourselves to what's practical or conventional." The Supreme Admiral looked around his bridge at officers from dozens of species, all of whom had dedicated their lives to maintaining galactic order. Now they stared at displays showing impossibilities made manifest by creatures who seemed to treat the laws of physics as polite suggestions. "Stand down your fleet, Admiral," Webb said, his voice gentle but firm. "Join us or go home." But the galaxy is moving forward now, with or without the coalition. As Karath gave the order to withdraw, he found himself wondering if this was how every species felt when they first encountered humanity, like the universe had suddenly become much larger and far more interesting than they had ever imagined. On the main display, Admiral Webb was still smiling, and somehow, despite everything, Karath found himself almost wanting to smile back. After all, in a galaxy where humans could convince mythical beings to relocate planets and convince time itself to show up early for a battle, who knew what other impossible things might be waiting just around the corner? "All ships," he announced to his fleet, "begin withdrawal. And open diplomatic channels with Earth. I believe we have much to discuss." The humans, predictably, were still smiling.